Hi everybody. It's been about a week and a half since I posted a video, so it feels good to be back in the saddle. I hope you all had a great holiday season and are having a happy new year. And yeah, happy to be making videos again. I've got quite the backlog of questions here. In terms of questions that were posted on some previous videos. So I'm going to jump into the first one here. So the question is, or the statement / question is, I tested positive for EBV, which is Epstein-Barr virus, which is what causes mono and sometimes a chronic issue in some people. I was never offered treatment. Do I still have it? Question mark. So it's a good, very reasonable question. As per usual, I can't offer any medical advice via social media. This is just for informational purposes only. And that is how the phone falls off the phone stand. Sorry about that, folks. It's a very dynamic video, apparently. Anyways, no medical advice being offered here, for informational purposes only. And if you need any medical advice, please talk to your healthcare provider to get that advice. So now, when it comes to Epstein-Barr virus, there's to my understanding, once we have Epstein-Barr virus, it's just in our bodies for forever. But it should go into dormancy. It should just basically go to sleep in our tissue, in our cells, and just not cause problems for us again. So if I had Epstein-Barr virus, at some point in time, I tested positive for it, or I had mono or whatnot, and I felt, perfectly healthy, or I felt like death warmed over, many years later, I would still have the Epstein-Barr virus on my body, but just would it be in remission or would it be active and causing problems for me? And so that's something where it's very hard to say whether or not there's active Epstein-Barr virus without doing a test. One could say, well, what about symptoms? Like, well, fair enough. Active Epstein-Barr virus or reactivated Epstein-Barr virus or chronic Epstein-Barr virus could certainly cause, fatigue, brain fog, inflammatory symptoms that might manifest as muscle pain, joint pain, that type of thing, different neurological symptoms. There are lots of symptoms that could be caused by Epstein-Barr virus, swollen lymph nodes. There's a number of them, but there's so many other things that can cause that as well. For anyone who's listened to my modules of my Overcoming Chronic Illness course, one of the big take-home messages from that whole course is that there's so much overlap between all of these underlying issues that can contribute to complex chronic illness. So symptom-wise, we really can't say whether someone has active Epstein-Barr virus or not. They might fit the symptom picture, but is it Epstein-Barr or is it something else? Now, thankfully, some of the treatments we work with overlap. So maybe we're thinking, oh, your symptoms are due to Lyme disease, and it's actually Epstein-Barr virus, and the treatment just happens to address both issues. But really, without doing some lab testing, it's hard to know whether Epstein-Barr virus is active or not. As I've posted in a few other videos before, the lab testing, at least in Canada, that's done through the standard, provincial labs, is not going to tell you whether you have chronic or reactivated Epstein-Barr. It can basically tell you whether you've had it at some point in your life or whether you have acute mono right now, but it's not able to tell you, to my understanding at least, whether it has been reactivated or you have a chronic manifestation of that. To get that testing done, you have to have more elaborate tests. There has to be a more elaborate antibody panel done. It's a little bit complicated and confusing, but if you work with a clinician who knows about these things, then it's hopefully not too complicated or confusing for them. To my understanding from working with many patients in the US as well, this type of more elaborate testing is much more readily available through some of the more common labs down there like Quest or whatnot. But here in beautiful Canada, more limited options with our socialized healthcare system. So I hope that answered your question. If you have any further questions about this, just post a question again. If any of you listening have questions about this topic or anything else, just post in the comment section below, and I'll do my best to answer as soon as I can.